So we will continue with Oxana. There is already something happening in Europe. Let's say it's called QTEdu. There have been already some pilot program. QWorld also participated 3 or 4. I don't remember exactly now. This pilot program. Now Oxana will mention about all of them, I guess. Oxana, stage is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abu, and to the QWorld for this very exciting event. I'm honored to be here. And I will tell you about the efforts in Europe mainly towards new education trains and trades in quantum technologies. So here you have a couple of logos, which you probably recognize, one already very well, that is a Quantum Flagship, and the other one a bit bigger, which is the QTEdu, so called, and this is the project I'm working in, and I will be mostly talking about. Me, myself, I'm a quantum physicist, I'm a theoretical one, and I worked long through physics research with cold atoms, quantum optics, quantum memory for light, and all that. And then I moved for a bit into the physics education research, where I learned a new universe for me. And now I'm in a research institute in Italy. Actually, it's a National Research Council of Italy, in particular Institute of Optics. I'm located in Trieste, and I am a team member of this coordination team for quantum technology education. So let's go. And first, I already mentioned these 2 projects that are existing in Europe for quantum technology. Like Quantum Flagship is coordinating the whole technology effort. And then a little bit later, they came up this quantum technology education coordination for, let's say, providing the workforce for quantum technology that is largely missing. And sorry, there is some. Think that is okay. Now, I'm having a little technical troubles, and now my presentation doesn't continue. So, okay, here we go. The jobs in the quantum world now are growing very fast, and there is a database that is collecting them. And also resources and education are growing. This is we are collecting them in the QTEdu databases too. And just to mention, today we have, for example, 96 positions that are those presented in a job database. And you're very welcome to advertise positions if you have them, and also to look for your dream job in case you're at the moment. At this point, I really much like to make an experiment live. I don't know if he'll manage, maybe Abu will help me. So among the audience, we have 134 participants. If you can please raise up hands in case your institution or your group or your company is hiring. And if Abu can count the hands, I will be very happy. You can use this this tool, which says raise up hands when you want to ask questions, for example. So if you will, I can see myself, 2 participants.
Yes,
raise up.
At the bottom.
Let's wait, because sometimes it takes a while to find the right button. So I think it's in the reactions, this button. Okay. We have stabilized on 2.
Zeki asked also part-time counts or not?
Yes, everything counts. It's also a research job and industry job, everything counts. Okay, so we had 2 and now the 3, okay, very good. Research jobs, industry jobs, internships, all kinds of, let's say, professional opportunities. Yeah, okay. 5, it's getting there. Okay, 4 back, 5. That's nice. Last time I made this experience, I was in the World Photonic Forum of Laser World of Photonics in Munich. and the audience was about 10 people, I think. It was early in the morning, and we had like 4 hands raised up for job opportunities, which was great. We were in the forum where people were advertising the companies. So now we have 7 hands, okay? And now we make a second part of the experiment. So please, who raised up hands, load them down. And I will ask next people who is looking for a job, raise up their hands. So in that forum, I will just continue meanwhile people are rising. In that forum, we had 4 hands raised up for jobs, and also 4 hands raised up for those who are looking for jobs. So it was a perfect match, and it was very nice to see the outcome. Although usually the statistics shows slightly different result, and a lot of companies are in trouble to find. So we have had 11 hands, I think, at most, that people started to raise them down before I asked. So I didn't see the max peak. Abu, did you notice?
It was 11, yes.
Okay, so thanks a lot. It was a great experience, an experiment, and this proved we had a measure point that this proved my hypothesis here, because I'm about to say that there are more offers than applicants. And of course, today among the 135, we don't have this condition, but also this event is generally, I think, was very well advertised for also young researchers and students. So I think this is a good sign for us that we managed to get the audience of more oriented to young generation. And so practically, there is this job database, and there is also a list of key players in the field of quantum technologies. It's called directory on the QTEdu page, and there are now some offers coming up, and they are getting more and more. And so there is also a way to grow to decide your career path such that you would be the best candidate for this offer. Although I have to say now it's still that companies are really struggling to find even applicants sometimes. All right, so how did we start all this business of the education coordination? In fact, we started in 2020, so almost 2 years ago. We are about to finish this August. And it was start, you see, with 2 years delay after the Quantum Flagship started itself. Because the Quantum Flagship started, and it was all this inspiring start of technology, and it quickly was noticed that the workforce does not exist, so only physicists can do the job, but they all want to do research, and there was a shortage noticed right away. And there was this proposal of, let's say, bring together at the beginning researchers and educators from the universities, and also research scientists in education research, because somehow these 2 groups are not always that well connected. And we did it once in 2019, and the effect was great. So the 2 community liked each other a lot, and they were inspired by both sides of work. And quickly there was a suggestion to continue this effort and to grow this community, and to start do research-based programs in the future that would be more quantum technology targeted, and will provide also interdisciplinary connections. So people who didn't do physics could still enter into quantum technology by passing some training or a course or a program. Okay. And so said, done. So we immediately suggested, as a Quantum Flagship suggested to the Commission to make this call for the coordination action, and it was made, and the consortium was formed. And our main goals were to build further this community and to make it several pan-European pilot projects of education programs, and then a bottom-up continuous revision and formation of the roadmap for the quantum capable workforce. So the main point of our concept is that we need the ecosystem to be fully involved in the education process, which is not just universities, also companies, and potentially also high schools, because this is when you start to be excited, so to choose the way to study in the university. And here we go. We have 4 nodes, and the coordination node is in Italy, is the CNR, it's the National Research Council of Italy. There are 4 people working on Italian side, with Chiara Machiavello, who is coordinating the project. She's from Pavia. Then we have a node in Netherlands, which is in TU Delft. And this node is responsible for the pilot programs coordination. I didn't mention that the Italian part was responsible for repositories and portal that I will present you shortly. The 3rd node is in Germany, is the Technical University of Braunschweig, and they were responsible for the competence framework, which I will of course present you soon as well. And last but not least, we have a node in Denmark, in Aarhus University, and they are the coordinators of the community building. Now, actions. So our first action, as I said already many times, was the community building. And here we go. By today, we have already 398 members of the quantum technology education community, shortly QTEdu community. And we are also collecting resources. So we have 84 programs and courses, for example, collected in the database, and 60 materials and tools. And the pride of us is the 11 pilot projects, which I will present you shortly. And here in the color, you see the countries, the brighter, the more people from this country is participating in the community. And it's not difficult to notice the pattern of the 4 nodes that are coordinating it. Of course, we have our networks naturally quickly as a first step involved, but we are very happy to say that we have more than close to 40 countries participating, and practically almost all European countries are involved, even if a smaller number of participants. And we have several working groups in the community. So here they are represented in the circles. One is dedicated to school and outreach, so citizens and school. Another group is for the higher education, which is highlighted here. And then lifelong learning and retraining is a 3rd group. Then we have 2 transversal groups, which is one dedicated to the education research, which is important at any level at any target of a program. And then another one is about the equity and inclusion, which is also a big important issues, and Quantum Flagship is particularly trying to push harder for it. So as I highlighted here, the higher education, just to show you how our interactive map works, you can see the total amount of members and the number of countries that are present in this group. And you can also see that the career level of the participants is varied. So we have advanced career expert, which means more than 10 years of experience in quantum science and technology, mid-career, which means from 10 to 5, and early career, which means from 0 to 5 years of experience in quantum science and technology. And you can also see which type of people are present, and the database in general can show you many more filters about the members of our community. Here I highlighted the lifelong learning working group, just to show the difference. For example, between these two, it's a bit smaller, and you see the distribution is also a bit different, but still it's a big fraction of early career people in our community. Now, I would like to talk a little bit about diversity and inclusion, which is this working group 5. It's actually equity and inclusion. And because I am also chairing this working group personally, and I think it's very important, and the QWorld has also big passion for promoting these topics. And I just wanted to share with you that the Quantum Flagship from the very start formed something that is called the Gender Equality Working Group. And this Gender Equality Working Group was ever since trying to push for actions and thoughts and especially in community events, that we were always suggesting something to happen in this regard, like a poll or a survey. And then, as the QTEdu appeared, we made this equity and inclusion working group where we have now 90 people, and I'm happy to see some of the members here also in the QWorld event. Now we are 90 and it's growing, so this is very nice to see. And I also noticed that there are other communities forming quickly. For example, Women in Quantum Development, which is in Netherlands, and they have particularly an interesting program now running, which is Quantum Childcare pilot program, that is to support parents, young parents, when they need to go on a travel, to support them with funding. And I wanted also to show you this video, which is a 3-minute summary of the survey that we have conducted as a gender equality working group in quantum technology community on the issue of gender balance. Oh, I didn't mention the Mint and Jab project as one of the projects, but I think works very, very well and enters really the local levels on the public level. Okay, here we go.
The lack of gender equality is a key issue we are facing within STEM workplaces, including the quantum technologies industry.
We are seeing a lack of women being promoted to senior positions, as well as an underrepresentation of women at conferences.
The Gender Equality Working Group of the Quantum Flagship set up a survey to find out how the community views gender equality to help shape the approach they will take to tackle any issue.
748 members of the international quantum community completed the survey. 59% of respondents were men and 37% were women.
Most respondents view gender inequality as an issue that needs to be tackled. A small minority views the system as offering equal opportunities and do not see the need for any special action.
However, evidence shows that this is not the case.
Participants were asked about gender discrimination within the quantum community, with 50% saying that they had either been discriminated against or witnessed gender discrimination in the last 5 years.
75% of those, that is 1/3 of total participants, stated that they are discriminated against regularly.
The majority of gender discrimination reported in the survey came in the front of men against women, but it was not the sole form of gender discrimination reported. Furthermore, 17% stated that discrimination came from lack of recognition, and 36% reported sexual harassment in the workplace.
Participants were also asked about unconscious bias, as it is an issue the working group aims to tackle. (84% stated that they were aware of unconscious bias and that it affected their interactions in the workplace.
Hiring processes and evaluations were two key aspects of unconscious bias highlighted by respondents. Also, 20% emphasized a need for outreach activities with younger kids to create a strong equal gender culture from a young age.
Participants also discussed a strong need for gender-based policy in the workplace.
Looking to the future, the survey highlighted the issues that need to be tackled. The survey results also emphasized that equality needs to be taken more broadly, ensuring other discriminated groups are recognized and supported.
Overall, we are in the initial stages of creating an equal workplace, and to make a real impact, we need dedicated action and support from everyone, from individuals to institutions within the quantum technologies community.
here we go. So there were a lot of surprises personally to me from this survey, and I think you also discovered something new. Although the community of quantum technologies, of course, is not an exclusion from the major STEAM subjects, so the numbers are pretty similar there. Being very inspired by late sharing of a picture of the Solvay Congress on quantum from 22 from the 27 of last century and 22 of this century, and seeing no women there, I am getting more and more into the indignating about the topic. And actually, I was super happy to observe that the opportunity that again, not moving. Oh no. Here we go. The opportunity from the QWorld to make QIntern project, and this is the first time for me to try and offer one. And I am just very sad of not seeing female images on presentations of all my colleagues and mine presentations as well. And I have a feeling we have some research to do, because I noticed that in informatics, people did research and they found that a lot of women did a lot of key progress in the field. And so I think we need a better research to understand how a gender balance really impacted the quantum science and technology. So if there is anybody excited about this topic, please join me on this project. Now, I wanted to also briefly tell you regarding this topic of diversity, that in the European Union, I have just made a quick check of gender equality regarding the grants. I don't know what number you have in mind, but here there came 41. This is in the 21 and 22, because we are in 22. Then I also checked the Erasmus Plus projects. And there, the number has been really surprising for me. So I also filtered 21 and 22, and it was 2,786 projects related to gender equality, which means that a lot is being done. And surprisingly, the move is very slow. So I'm very curious. By the way, the full number of projects is 5,524, but this has started in 2013, more or less. Okay. Now, the next action we did with the QTEdu consortia was collecting and sharing resources, and partially I already waved you some with the portal that we did. And if you go to our portal, which is very easy, it's QTEdu.eu, then you will find in the upper menu resources for everyone. And we divided them into several target groups, like primary school, higher education, lifelong learning, and we also have an outreach. And outreach, as you know, sometimes we say general public, but general public is not quite general, because we are all divided into groups by age or by our interests and so on. So it's quite diverse part as well. So now I will highlight you, for example, the programs and courses we have collected for higher education level, as well as internship opportunities and materials and tools for this target group, because I have a feeling that majority of the participants are from this area. So we have by now 55, for example, programs, courses, and trainings, various types of activities where you can learn. And we have some of those activities offer internship opportunities, so 3 of them, for example. And in our page, you can also find a link to the internships which are offered by companies. There are 4 in addition. And this is a part of the opportunities and internship. And we have also 29 materials and tools which you can use on your own to help you study or to just learn on yourself about quantum technologies. Here, I would like to mention that we are mainly interested on supporting all types of technology and quantum computing as well, of course, but along with quantum information and quantum sensoring and metrology, as well as quantum simulations. Now, just for another showcase, I will show you how much we have collected for lifelong learning and retraining. So this is targeting the people mainly who are already at work or at least finished their first study. And here we have, for example, 20 various types in the database of courses and programs and trainings. And you can also filter them by the type of a program. So we have tried to make very user-friendly filters. And if you find that there is missing something, please contact us at any time. We are very welcoming the feedback. And regarding materials and tools, we have, for example, 12 in this category. So the outreach, of course, which I advertised so much, I will show you just the numbers so that you have an idea. We have, for example, something that might not be very much on your mind. There are also courses and programs. We just heard about one, for example, that I think it's I don't know if Laura and Daria welcome people who are not engaged in studies currently, but like people who would just like to learn by themselves to do a game and are not students currently. But I think that activities like this are very, very, very great and very useful for citizens to be aware and engaged in the progress of technology. And then we also have 30 various items where people who are not involved in quantum at all can learn about it. All right, so we have gone through community building, the repository and facilities, and now we are coming to something that we like to see as a common language for the quantum technologies, competences and skills. So as many key stakeholders are involved, like the university, the company, also the policymakers, and there's need a language that we all know that we talk about the same thing when we talk about quantum technology. And in particular, when training people and they have to be then going to the industry, the topics have to be, let's say, aligned. And what we did a long study that took us a year. It was a Delphi study with 3 rounds. And of course, we tried to involve as many people as possible in this study. And we came up with the first version of the competence framework. I say first because it's going to be updated, and this is a living document. We need to get the community feedback regularly for adapting it, as also the field is updating and adapting, evolving, let's put it this way. And the main, let's say, aim for this document is that main description would be that it is from the empirical study. We wish it to be a reference frame, let's say, for all of us who have constructed it and will be using it in the future, in Europe at least. Then it is also helping for complementary educational efforts that are already happening now and will be also appearing in the future, and hopefully will be also helping to make a more balanced education programs. As I mentioned, this was this 3-round Delphi study, and we also had a beta version in between, and all this has been published in a European Commission report about creation of the competence framework, so you can find more information about the creation process and the methodology there. It looks like this, so there are 3 main blocks of the competence framework. One block on the top, you see, it's the theoretical background, and then there is a second block, which is quantum technologies themselves, and then there is a third block, which is we call them practical background, but these are more practical and soft skills. And there are lines that are connecting various sections with other sections, which means that they are going out from one section and entering in the other one, which has a logic, because it means that something is the basis for the other one. And in each topic that you see, for example, 1.1 basic concepts, there would be also subtopics, as is presented, for example, for the level for the 0.6 quantum sensors and metrology. So each topic has its subtopic. And now we also have on the website a graphic representation of it, of course, also a PDF document if you need it, but with the graphic representation, you can very easily and quickly explore the competence framework and see if this may be inspiring for you to use it for creation of your program or comparing your program with it. And we are also very happy for your feedback. You can write us and also cooperate with us on further creation and updating of this competence framework. Based on this competence framework, we made one more step further because it was very, very, very requested that we somehow make profiles of qualifications that are somehow in the air and are most requested. So the programs, the study programs can be shaped in the way necessary for this. And the competence profiles is really like the first version that we have, and it's very raw. We have done some preliminary studies and interviews, and these are the examples of competences that people would need to acquire to fit one or the other profile. For example, here, I don't know if I have prepared. Yes, I have prepared a couple here. For example, the general quantum technology awareness, which might require practically all the areas on, let's say, I1, maximum A2 level, or the quantum technology strategist, which might go deeper in some specific area and in particular, the way of seeing the transversal connections between the science and technology. Then we also have a computer software engineering profile, the hardware engineering profile, and senior engineer and the communication engineer. So all this you will also find on our website if you are curious to look through what we have come up with and give comments. Please contact us. We will very much appreciate the feedback. On the portal, as I mentioned, we have this section on the left, and this is dedicated to the competence framework and common language, and there you find both the competence framework and the qualification profiles. All right. Now, as you see, I mentioned A1, and 2, and so on proficiency levels, and probably some of you will have a question, but what does it mean, A1 proficiency level in one of the topics? And this is still to be defined. Actually, we are working on this, and this will be the next step of the development. And again, I really much welcome you to participate, because this is something community is able to do, not just a few people. All right. So here we are coming to the final and the most exciting section, also because the whole community is again involved and great products are coming of it in masses. This is about the scaling up the quantum technology education offers in Europe. And these are the pilot programs that I have already mentioned. So we have at the beginning set up programs, let's say, along which we were hoping that people would form consortia and start develop some activities and synergetic projects together. We suggested 5 lines, which was like secondary school. It was the bachelor, the minor, the master, the industry, and the society, the outreach and engagement. So we had 5 lines, and for each of these lines, we defined the criteria and suggestions of how to build a project. And we were really happy that 25 countries were involved and 129 members participated. I think more at this point because people were joining the pilots as they were all open. So what have come out of all this big community so active in the in synergizing? So we actually had 11 projects, 11 consortia formed, and in particular at the school level, we had 5 consortia formed with education researchers involved and quantum technology researchers involved, covering broad range of topics. So it was starting from just activities with school teachers and pupils towards making a concept inventory, which would involve all let's say existing practice and best expertise in various countries. So broad range of projects. And for outreach and engagement, we have also 2 projects, one which involves a lot of people and tries to be kind of a mini community of outreach researchers in Europe, with great set of synergetic action. And also a project which is with a smaller set of participants, but with a very nice baseline underneath. So they have developed a framework of how to do science dissemination effectively, and they wanted to scale it up to more countries. It is called Quantum Technology in 5 minutes. Then for the minor and master, we had 3 pilots. So you see, it's less amount of pilots, and it's also much bigger effort because coordinating things formally on master and minor levels is a very hard task. And still, we are very proud that we have a very big open pilot, the QTOM, which involves more than 30 participants and 30 institutions as well. And they also have their own website and their own portal that became a network, let's say, of the master programs in Europe. And we also have 1 pilot on the industry level. And this is again the cooperation of people who are interested in creating a training and events for people at the more targeting the requalification and industrial landscape. And I'm super proud and happy that a lot of members of QWorld is also participating in these pilots, and this is a great honor for us. Now, just to show on the portal, we also have a special section which is work with community, where you can find the community divided into working groups, and the pilot projects themselves that I have just mentioned you. They all have their personal page to be presented. An example of the outreach pilot, which I think most of the participants of today's event are also participants of the outreach pilot. Not most, I'm sorry, the most of the pilot participants are here also in this event. This outreach pilot that is quantum technology education for everyone, that is also transversal and tries to target various audience, and this is coordinated by Zeki and Marilu. Here we go. So I think that I am coming to the end, yes, and a little bit of the future, because I just told you that half an hour ago, I told you that we are finishing this August, and the community will not close, of course. So the QTEdu will scale up, and it will join the coordination action of the whole flagship, as well as the international cooperation coordination, which was there up to now. And it will be a massive coordination action, which will include education as a sub-part. And it is already starting. In parallel, we are passing the duties, let's put it this way. A lot of people remain the same. For example, I will continue working in this, and we are glad that it is getting momentum, and we will keep doing it. One more thing of the future is that there is a plan for Virtual Quantum Technology Institute, which will have kind of a modular structure. So it would have modules dedicated to different levels and different topics, and it will be online and free. And there will be a certification of these modules provided by some Quantum European a quantum educational center, and we hope that the competence framework collected from all the community and synergy will be somehow the background for this. And I see Abu, which means that I'm at the end of my time probably, and
you have 11 minutes.
Okay, very good, very good. So then, yes, this is what I was saying, that the competence framework will be the language and would help to create these certification schemes in the future. But this is the future plans. Yeah. So I think at this point I'm over, and here I'm ready for your questions and comments.
Okay, thank you very much. So you can write your questions related to presentation here or in the Discord. I think Philip makes a comment about also there is a woman in quantum. I think this is another group. They're also organizing some events.
Okay, thank you, Philip. Please, let's keep on Discord. I noticed that there is a very great way of keeping communication after the event is over, the Discord, and I'm looking forward to be present on it afterward.
Manuel asked about the definition of quantum engineer. I think you already show in your slides and refer to people to the website, but still, would you like to add a few words or?
What was exactly the question? Just the definition of quantum engineer?
Yeah, definition, how we can make it in concrete form, maybe.
Yeah, so I think the answer is multiple, because quantum engineer itself, you see here, for example, there are already 2 profiles, and these are not the old ones, because engineering can be at different levels, so quantum engineering as well. Maybe what is asked in short is that how can we make engineer to be quantum? No, so we all know what engineer is, it seems, although engineering is also a very diverse field. So how can we make engineer to be quantum or to be quantum ready? So and this is actually the answer, which doesn't exist yet, and there's been research on this slowly starting. There are trials, so the trials and use cases are such that there is a master program, for example, so it's 2 years that you continue learning engineering with a few addition of quantum courses, and in particular with a lot of interaction with quantum companies. So that makes you a quantum engineer. Or you can be an engineer and you go to the quantum company and you are quickly getting what you need from the quantum company. So at the moment, this is majority of how quantum engineers are becoming quantum. Companies are just training them by themselves. But companies are really, really interested in having training aside from them, where they can send the AI engineers for training. And this can also be done in a shorter framework, like a few days course or few weeks course. So depending on how much deep level your engineer has to get. So it has to be designing, it has to be planning, or it has to be implementing. So depending on the proficiency of the engineer, that skills of the engineer you need, will be a dedicated way of learning, of upgrading his skills. Hope that helps.
So it's still in liquid form. We don't know when it will freeze. Okay. I have a question, especially regarding to QWorld. When funding will be available also? Second is how flexible applying to this fund, because I am asking this currently. You apply some European project, it's like it's became even a business. You are just working with some company taking some part, they preparing, etc. So it looks like, for example, scary. As QWorld, we are already active, we are already doing a lot of stuff, but we really need money. But we don't have, for example, this preparation, etc. So first question is when funding can be available, we can apply. Second is, can it be flexible, or it will be again this all formal procedures, etc.
Okay, so regarding the funding, there is these programs and calls from the EU. This is the only thing I can talk about regarding the Quantum Flagship, that there were already 2 calls, one for master program and now just recently finished for the professional training. But as you say, they are very rigid and they are very strict also with requirements. So it was actually not that easy to form even a consortia for these calls, because it was really heavy restrictions, I have to say, so we even had to push to somehow smear them out, because otherwise there would have not been a consortia, let's say, for master programs. It was really difficult. Now, I think, unfortunately, well, what I see is in the future, we will try to bring these problematics and try to make that further calls are slightly better, because otherwise it's really hard. But I think that what will continue from the European Union, there will be these programs within the Digital Europe funds, because this is where quantum education is going to be financed. So this is solid as a stone. And the calls will be this style of European calls, and maybe there will be more flexibility because we will push, but I doubt we have a big hand on there. What I have to say is that there will be also projects, as they were always in the Erasmus section. So I think these projects, and there are many more, and this Erasmus Plus specifically was designed explicitly for education. And I would be further on advocating for us and for pilot projects as well that will be called in the future within the quantum education coordination, that Erasmus has to be really at glance and has to be really considered as one of the main direction for funding. This would be my personal perspective.
Okay, thank you. I think they also would like to access the slides. If possible, you may share it in Discord.
Okay, with pleasure.
Okay, there should be some other questions now. Okay, maybe we can lastly take Zeki's question. He thanks, and then since we are at a global event, I would like to ask, how global is the QTEdu in terms of its vision?
Thanks, Zeki. You can give a first try while I'm thinking, because I know you have an answer.
No, I really don't. I'm really curious about the vision side.
Okay, so practically, I think that the first visions are the most global when things is before even starting. So when it was in the prehistory of QTEdu, the vision was that there will be globally shift in terms of science education, in particularly quantum science education, because of 2 reasons. One is that because of the second quantum revolution, it's hard to ignore it, and education actually profits of more technological updates in it. And the second is that there is this merging point between education research and physics education that has been very well better merged in US, for example, because there you see a lot of great products, and here in Europe it came later, especially physics education. And so this merge of the 2 communities and of the 2 great let's say offers, and making a one on top of it. So this is like a far vision, which is very general on the quality of education. And then of course let's say the main goal within this vision is to provide somehow the workforce for quantum technology that is drastically needing it, where I honestly think that the technology will run much faster than the workforce here, because so there will be a big period in which all physicists that can be hired will be hired as soon as they will know that there is this new space opening in technology, as well as mathematicians, as well as computer scientists, and so on, because there is not yet enough education program to provide workforce for everybody. And for the moment, the good old physics, mathematics, and computer computer science will be just does this even without quantum. And then there will be a more sustainable part when there will be enough people that are shaped, formed, and also more companies. I think there will happen a transition also at that level, but we will listen you soon to tell us about this more.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. So thank you, Oxana.
Thank you very much, Abo.